My beloved child. The time has come for your soul to stop running from the peace I have always held open before you. I see the days when you wake with a heavy heart. I see the way you try to gather enough strength to hold everything together, as though if you stop straining, everything would fall apart. But my child, this earth and sky have never been sustained by your fragile hands. The sun still rises without you lifting it. The sea still knows its boundaries without you controlling it, and every breath within your chest is also a gift I quietly give you each day. Why do you think you must carry the whole world upon your shoulders? Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. As it is written in 1 Peter 5:7. I do not say this to condemn your weakness, but to remind you that your heart was not created to live in the chains of fear. There are times when you ask me to open a new way, yet when I begin to shake what is old, you become afraid, thinking you are losing everything. You do not realize that many of the things you have been clinging to have long made your soul weary. I do not take things away to leave you empty. I clear the space so you can receive what is better, just as a gardener cuts away withered branches so the tree may bear stronger fruit. I am also touching the deepest places of your life with the tenderness of a father, and though that process may sometimes cause you pain, I have never taken my eyes off you, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for disaster. As Jeremiah 29:11 declares, do not look at every change through eyes filled with panic anymore. Look with faith, believing that I am still continuing to write the story of your life with grace. My beloved child, faith is not a pleasant feeling when everything is going well. Faith is when you keep walking even though you cannot yet see the light at the end of the road. It is in the darkest nights, when your mind is full of questions and your heart is trembling, that I am teaching you to lean on me instead of leaning on your limited understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. As Proverbs 3:5 says, you often want to know everything in advance before you dare to rest, but I am calling you to walk first, and then each step will open new understanding. If you could see everything from the beginning, it would no longer be faith. I do not want you to believe only when every door is wide open. I want you to recognize that even when you cannot yet see the way, I am still holding your hand in the midst of the fog. Remember the widow of Zarephath during the drought. She had only a handful of flour and a little oil left, enough for one final meal before waiting for death. But when the prophet Elijah came and asked her to make bread for him first, it was not merely a test of generosity, it was the moment faith was called forth in the midst of lack. According to human reason, she should have kept the last portion for herself and her son. But she chose obedience in a situation where there seemed to be nothing left to hold on to, and then the miracle happened. The jar of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry throughout the days of famine. Do you see the miracle does not begin when circumstances are abundant? The miracle begins when the soul dares to trust me in the moment that seems utterly hopeless. There are doors I open only when you dare to release your fear and place the last portion of your faith into my hands. I know there have been many times when you grew weary from trying to control everything around you. You tried to control the words of others. You tried to hold together relationships that were already breaking apart. You tried to force yourself to remain strong even when your soul was exhausted. But my child, true peace is not born from your ability to hold everything together. It is born when you know that I am holding you. There are battles that do not require you to rush in with your own strength, but instead require you to kneel down and let me fight for you. Be still and know that I am God. As written in Psalm 46:10, the world teaches you that you must always stay in control, always calculate, always prepare for the worst. But I am teaching you another way, the way of resting quietly in my love. And one day, you will look back on the road you have traveled with eyes full of wonder. You will understand that the doors that closed and once made you weep were actually protecting you from far greater pain. The seasons of waiting that once made you restless were preparing you to become mature enough to receive what I had promised. Not a single tear has fallen from your eyes without me seeing it. Not a single long night has passed without me being near you. Even when you felt the most lost, I was still quietly placing each stone upon the path, leading you back toward healing. So today, my beloved child, stop forcing yourself to understand everything. Stop condemning yourself for not being strong enough. I never called you to live by your own strength. What I seek is not a perfect soul, but a heart willing to open itself to my love. Let me enter the places you still keep closed because of fear of being hurt. Let me touch the memories that still wound you and transform them into testimonies of grace, for I am able to make flowers bloom even upon the driest ground of your life. When you learn to lay your burdens at my feet, your soul will become lighter. When you stop trying to hold everything in your own hands, you will begin to realize how strong and gentle my hands truly are. And then, in the midst of what seemed like the most ordinary days, you will feel my presence covering your life, like the quiet dawn pouring through a window after a long night. Do not be afraid anymore. My beloved child, I am here. I have always been here. And as long as you continue walking with me, there will never be a darkness great enough to swallow the light I have placed within your heart. My beloved child, I know there are nights when you lie awake for hours, unable to even name all the things weighing heavily upon your heart. On the outside, everything may appear quiet. Yet within you rages an entire storm of unanswered questions. You look toward tomorrow with anxious eyes, wondering whether you will have enough strength to keep going, whether the hopes you carry will vanish like the morning mist, or whether I truly hear the small prayers rising from the deepest place within your soul. But my child, before you even call upon me, I have already heard the cry of your heart. Before the tears fall, I have already seen the pain. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands, as Isaiah 49:16 declares. Therefore never believe that you have been forgotten among the vast multitude of people. To the world, you may feel like only a small and insignificant soul, but to me, you are my child, loved with a love beyond measure. There are moments when you think I am silent, because heaven has not immediately answered your prayers. But my child, my silence is not my absence. Some seeds must remain hidden deep within the soil for a season before they rise into living shoots. Some rains do not come immediately, because I am still preparing the ground for a harvest far greater than you can imagine. If I gave you everything, while your heart was still filled with fear and impatience, you would hold your blessings with trembling hands instead of with a peaceful heart. That is why sometimes I allow you to walk through seasons of waiting, not to exhaust you, but to teach you that true hope is not found in circumstances, but in my presence alone. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. As Isaiah 40:31 says, when you learn how to rest in me, you will realize that heaven has never stopped moving on behalf of your life. I see the way you try to control everything in order to protect yourself. You calculate every step. You cling tightly to what feels familiar and worry even about things that have not yet happened. You believe that if you let go, everything will fall apart. But my beloved child, can your limited hands truly hold together what has always belonged under my sovereignty? It is the tightness within your heart that leaves you weary. It is the need to understand everything that causes your soul to lose the softness of faith. I did not call you to live as someone carrying the weight of the world upon your shoulders. I called you to live as a child, resting their head upon their father's chest. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. As written in Matthew 11:28, true peace does not come when you are able to control everything. True peace comes when you know that I am still holding you. Even when you no longer have the strength to hold yourself together, remember Jehoshaphat, the king who stood before an army so vast that his people trembled in fear, believing there was no way of escape. In the eyes of the world, it was the moment to gather weapons, calculate strategies, and prepare for defeat. But instead of placing his trust in his own strength, he knelt in prayer and said, "We do not know what to do, but our eyes are upon you." And I spoke to them, saying that the battle did not belong to them, but to me. When the people began to lift songs of praise in the midst of danger, I threw the enemy ranks into confusion and brought victory in a way no one could have imagined. Do you see, my child? Miracles often begin at the moment when the human heart stops clinging to its own ability and chooses instead to rely completely upon me. There are battles in your life that will never be won by your own strength, but only through surrender and trust. The fear you are carrying is not a voice I placed within your heart. You do not sow panic, doubt, or despair into your soul. Fear always whispers that you must save yourself, that if you are not constantly alert, disaster will come upon you, that I may somehow forget you along the journey. But I say to you that my love does not change with circumstances. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. As 2 Timothy 1:7 declares, when you allow fear to rule your soul, will always live in tension. But when you allow faith to grow, you will begin to see my hand, even in the smallest things in the door that closed at the right moment, in the unexpected encounter, in the quiet protection you once failed to notice. My beloved child, I do not condemn you for having worried. I understand your weakness. I understand the feelings of a heart that has been wounded and therefore always tries to prepare itself for the worst. But today, I am inviting you into another kind of life, a life of surrender. Not surrender born from hopelessness, but the placing of your life into the hands of the one who loves you more than you love yourself. Stop using anxiety as a shield to protect your soul. Stop believing that doubt will keep you safe from pain. Those things only make your heart heavier. I want to teach you a better way, the way of trust. And the time will come when you look back upon these anxious seasons and realize that I never abandoned you for even a single moment. Even when you thought you were most lost, I was quietly guiding your steps. Even when you could not see a single miracle, I was still working in depths your eyes could not yet reach. So today, my beloved child, loosen your weary hands. Let your fears fall at my feet. Let your heart learn once again how to rest. And then, in the midst of life's chaos, you will hear my gentle voice calling out to you. Do not be afraid, for I am with you, my beloved child. I see the weariness covering your soul like a heavy mist. I see the way you try to keep everything within your grasp, as though, if you loosened your hold even slightly, your life would shatter into pieces. Quietly, you calculate for tomorrow, forcing yourself to stay strong, to understand everything in advance, to prepare for every possible outcome. But my child, Your heart was never created to live in such tension. I did not create you to stand guard over every storm in your life. I created you to live in closeness with me, to learn how to rest in the love of the one who holds the entire universe in his hands. Be still and know that I am God. As written in Psalm 46:10, there are moments when what your soul needs most is not more strength to endure, but enough trust to finally let go. You often believe that the more control you have, the safer you will be. Yet it is that very tightening of your grip that is causing your hands to ache. You cling to worry as though it were a weapon to protect yourself. You cling to doubt as a way to prepare for disappointment. You cling to the need to understand everything as though knowledge alone could shield you from pain. But my beloved child, when your hands are already full of such burdens, how can you receive what I long to place within them? I cannot fill a vessel that is still crowded with fear. I cannot pour peace into a soul that remains locked behind control. That is why today I am gently calling you to release it all. Not so that you may become weak, but so that you may become free. When you choose to place your worries at my feet, I will replace them with a peace that surpasses human understanding. When you stop using suspicion to guard your heart, I will teach you to take up the sword of faith instead. Put on the full armor of God, as Ephesians 6:11 says. But the armor I give you is not fear, not control, not panic. I clothe you with the breastplate of righteousness. Place the helmet of salvation upon your head, and fill your heart with a peace the world can never take away. You no longer need to fight through the strain of the flesh. There are victories that are won, not through your strength, but through your surrender before me. Remember the story of Mary, when the angel announced that she would give birth to the Savior. By human understanding, it was beyond reason and filled with danger. She could have been misunderstood, judged, rejected. Yet instead of trying to control the future or demanding every answer before obeying, Mary simply bowed her head and said, "May it be unto me according to your word." It was through that gentle surrender that a miracle entered the world. Do you see, my child? Heaven often accomplishes its greatest works through hearts that are willing to say yes to me, even before they can see the whole road ahead. I know that for you, letting go is not easy. You have lived for so long with the feeling that you must take care of everything yourself. You fear that if you stop calculating, stop striving, stop trying to control everything, then nothing will remain to protect you. But my child, if your life depends only upon your own strength, you will always live in exhaustion. I do not want you to walk through life like an orphan, trying desperately to save yourself. I want you to walk as a beloved child who knows their Father is beside them. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. As Romans 8:28 says, that means even the things you do not yet understand today can still be transformed into blessings in my perfect time. There are doors I have closed not to punish you, but to protect you from what would wound your soul. There are seasons of waiting I have allowed to continue, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am preparing something far better than your imagination can yet grasp. If you could see every part of my plan from the beginning, you would never learn trust. That is why sometimes I give you only enough light for the next step, not to make you afraid, but to teach you how to hold my hand instead of clinging only to the outcome. My beloved child, do not let the endless what-ifs steal the peace of your present moment. Do not allow your mind to wander endlessly through futures that have not yet arrived. Those worries are like winds in the desert. They may stir up sand and leave your eyes burning. Yet with only one breath from me, everything can become still again. You do not need to know every answer in order to have peace. You only need to know who is leading you. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the one who sees the ending from the very beginning. What confuses you today has never once been beyond my reach. So today, let your trembling hands finally rest. Stop clinging tightly to burdens I never asked you to carry. Open your heart like a child leaning against their father after a long and exhausting day. I have not broken my promises to you. I am still working in places your eyes cannot yet see, and the day will come when you realize that the very moments you thought you were about to collapse were actually the moments when I was carrying you through. When you learn how to surrender, you will understand that the greatest miracle is not merely changed circumstances, but a heart that has finally learned how to rest in me. My beloved child, what I am teaching your soul is not how to see the entire road ahead, but how to walk while your hand is resting in mine. Faith is not the ability to predict what tomorrow will look like. Faith is the deep peace that comes from knowing the one guiding you never makes mistakes. Too many times you have wanted to see the outcome before allowing yourself to rest. Wanted to understand everything before taking the next step. But my child, if I showed you everything from the beginning, you would rely more on what your eyes could see than on me. That is why I place only a small light before you, enough for the next step, so that you may learn to trust me day by day. The righteous shall live by faith. As Romans 1:17 says, I did not call you to live by the fear of tomorrow, but by my presence in today. You think that when you release your worries, you will become more fragile. But the truth is the opposite. It is the fears you continue to hold on to that are draining the strength from your soul. They keep you awake deep into the night, and exhaustion causing your heart to remain tense, like someone trapped in a battlefield that never ends. I did not create you to live that way. When you lay down the weapons of anxiety, you are not losing protection. You are exchanging them for the true strength that comes from heaven. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. As Isaiah 40:31 says, an eagle does not fly by clinging tightly to the branch. It can only soar when it dares to spread its wings into the unseen wind. You are the same, my child, as long as you continue clinging to old things out of fear. Your soul will never rise into the greater heights I have prepared for you. Picture your life as a boat drifting upon a vast sea. There are seasons when violent waves rise up and dark clouds gather, making you feel as though you are about to sink beneath the chaos. In panic, you run everywhere, trying with your own strength to keep the boat from breaking apart. But the harder you try to control everything, the more exhausted you become, and the more peace slips away. Then I step into the middle of that storm, not rushing, not afraid, but gently placing my hand upon your shoulder and saying, "Take courage." This is exactly what happened to the disciples long ago upon the Sea of Galilee. The wind screamed, the waves crashed over the boat, and yet I rose and rebuked the wind and spoke to the sea, saying, "Be still." And instantly the waters became calm. Do you see, my child? What brings peace is not your own ability, but my presence within the boat of your life. When I am there, no storm will ever have the final word. My beloved child, I know there are wounds that make it difficult for you to trust completely. There were times when you opened your heart and were betrayed. There were times when you hoped only to be crushed by disappointment. There were nights when you waited for an answer, yet found only a silence that seemed endless. Those memories have caused you to build walls around your heart. You learn to keep your distance in order to protect yourself. You say that you surrender everything to me. Yet deep within you, still keep a backup plan because you are afraid of being abandoned once again. I understand that, my beloved child. I do not condemn your weakness, but I do not want you to spend your life hidden inside that fortress of self-protection, because the same walls that keep you from being hurt are also keeping you from love and healing. Remember Peter, on the night he stepped out of the boat and walked upon the water. As long as his eyes remained fixed on me, he was able to walk in the middle of the impossible. But when he looked at the fierce wind and the crashing waves, fear caused him to sink. You are the same, my child. When your eyes remain fixed upon problems, upon the future, upon everything that could go wrong, your heart will become filled with anxiety. But when you lift your eyes toward me, you will realize that the one who called you to walk is also the one powerful enough to keep you from sinking. Faith does not mean there will be no storms. Faith means knowing that in the midst of the storm, I am still holding your hand. I am inviting you to step out from the fortress of control. Lay the sword of doubt at my feet. Let the endless what-ifs stop ruling your mind. You no longer need to fight in order to save yourself. The battle is not yours, but God's. As written in 2 Chronicles 20:15, there are battles your soul cannot win through effort alone, but only through surrender. When you stop forcing yourself to hold everything together, you will begin to hear the voice of my peace, whispering within your heart. My beloved child, let me become the captain of your life. Let me take hold of the wheel you have gripped so tightly for so long in your exhaustion. I see how weary you are from trying to guide yourself through every dark and dangerous water alone. But you were never created to row through life by yourself. You were created to walk with me. I know where the storms are, where the hidden rocks lie beneath the surface, and where the safe harbor for your soul awaits. If you trust me enough to loosen your grip, I will lead you farther than fear has ever allowed you to go. So today, come close to me. Sit beside the stream of my peace that never runs dry. Let your weary heart rest within this gentle presence. You do not need to understand everything in order to be safe. You only need to know that I am here. And as long as I remain within the boat of your life, there will never be a storm powerful enough to sink you. My beloved child, as you carry these words in your heart today, remember that you are never alone. I am with you always. If this message has touched your soul, strengthened your faith, or brought you peace in the midst of your storm, I invite you to leave a comment below, sharing how God is speaking to you right now. Your testimony may become the encouragement someone else desperately needs. If these words have blessed you, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this reminder of my love. Let us spread hope together, one heart at a time. Thank you for walking this journey with me. I love you deeply, and I am not finished with your story yet. Amen.